Hey, welcome back to another episode of One Step Further. If you do not know, I am Justin Arnold, and I bring on an amazing guest with you today, and we'll introduce him in a second. But if this is your first time listening to this episode or listening to this podcast, we are a podcast all about essentially the title, One Step Further. Whether it's personally or professionally, we're here to move your life a step further with the anecdotal stuff that we bring you, mind, body, spirit. And I brought Jonathan on here. He was actually a mentor back in the day, still a mentor, super been helpful in my life, my business. And he's just been doing amazing things for people in the Fit Pro business. And I thought, man, I wanted to bring him on here, introduce him to you all and talk about what he's been doing. Because he's definitely moving people's lives a step further, did it with me. So it just seemed logical to bring him on here. So anyways, Jonathan, why don't you introduce yourself, tell everyone about yourself and anything else, and we'll get the conversation going.
Well, first off, thanks for having me on, man. And second of all, I don't need my energy drink anymore. I feel the spirit that you just put through this screen. I'm like, I'm excited. I don't know why, but I'm excited right now. So thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's
Boom,
good.
Podcast's over. Everyone's life is a step further.
Well, cool. So to really sum up what I do is I'm on a mission to help Fit Pros get paid what they're worth. And, it really stems from me being in the industry for, like almost 13 years now. And, like most, I go and got my college degree and I get my first job at Gold's Gym. And then I realized that you have to learn sales and marketing. And it's like, oh, cow, like, they don't teach you this stuff, and then you're going through and you're realizing like, wow, like I actually don't make that much of an income doing this that a lot of people would think. And it's taking 10 to 12 hours a day, 6-7 days a week. And I know you understand that grind, Justin, that is part of how we met, right? As we're going through this stuff. So everything stems from that. So, I have a podcast I run with my business partner. I've got 2 companies that I run to help service Fit Pros, Smart Shark, which is a client acquisition company, marketing, lead gen, sales, and follow-up. And we have a company called Fit Pro Collective, which is more of a group coaching and mentoring program that we've created to really give really an atmosphere for Fit Pros to come in and level up, not just in their business, but what we're seeing is it is translating to all the other areas of their life, right? Which I know we're going to get into in this episode. We're talking about taking one step further. I know you've got some great stories and things that you've gone through. I know I'm going to be excited to share my personal journey of what I've done to level up over these last 10 years. And really more specifically, the last couple of years of really, I've had honestly the best years of my life by just making good choices to say and some different decisions than I had in the past.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I met you, for those that don't know, like I met him literally, I want to say, let's see, last year. It
was right before COVID.
Well, no, when I said yes to you was before COVID, but I met you.
Oh, well, that's what I remember.
Yeah, it was like, I definitely remember that. It's just like, but I didn't hear, for people that don't know me, I don't say yes right away. Like I courted my wife. I take 6 months to decide on a washer and dryer. Like I don't say yes right away for anything, even in relationships. I take time to build and cultivate them. And so
it was a podcast episode I caught.
Yeah. So he was watching my podcast or listening to my podcast. And so it was like November, December. And then we started talking. And then, like literally we all felt COVID was coming. And I feel like a lot of people would, hey, let me just drop money for this guy. But I built a relationship and I thought, why not anytime than any? It's kind of like the stock market. Invest when things are low and then sell in a high, or however you want to look at it. So that's kind of looking at like, well, not that my income was, but it looked like scary where income might take a hit. So I was like, what a better time than to work on myself, because I feel like I'm about to have some time in my business. And that's what it was, literally like a week before, the week of, we hit the ground running. And man, it introduced me to a plethora of people, including Mark, who helped me along the way getting more organized on the back end of things. And now things are just flowing. And I love these guys because there's always something to reach out. And that's what I love with this guy. It's like it's not about the money per se, but it is about the money. It's about getting people what they're worth. And he also helps you not only getting what you're worth, but defining your value. I think some people, including myself, don't realize how valuable we are to some people. Yeah. I mean, let's talk about that. Yeah.
So yes, money's part of it, right? And anyone that says money isn't important is because they've got a wrong mindset about it,
exactly,
right? So getting what you're worth is way more than money. It's getting what you're worth in your life into fulfillment of what you do. Like, are you going to a dead end job that you hate every day and you're having that voice in the back of your head screaming at you like you should be doing more? Are you in a marriage that you're locked and miserable in, right? And you're not getting what you're worth and what you're looking for in that partner? With the circle of people that you have in your life, are you getting what you're worth in those relationships, right? And then obviously are you getting what we're financially, which, at the end of the day, money is just a magnifier, right? Like, I truly believe if you're a really good person and you get more money, you become a better person because it allows you to do more good deeds. Now, on the other spectrum, if you're a jerk and you get a bunch of money, you become a bigger jerk, right? It just magnifies who you already are. And getting what you're worth really starts with your mindset and how you start talking to yourself and the expectations and standards you hold for yourself. And I know for me, for the longest time, I didn't have a high level of self-worth. So I wasn't getting what I was worth in those other areas of my life. And it really stemmed from me not keeping the promises that I made myself. I found tons of excuses. I had every reason of why this wasn't happening, or I wasn't doing this, or I stopped doing this good thing that was good for me. And now I picked up a negative habit in its place. But as I've rebuilt and gone through this process and really understanding, like, okay, what are the most important things that I should be focusing on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis? I've been able to keep those promises to myself. Thus, my self-worth goes up, how I talk to myself, how I talk to others, and all the other areas have enhanced. And that's really what I'm on a mission to share with other people. Now, not just Fit Pros, but, that's my tribe, man. Those are my people, man. I grew up slinging in the gym,
Yeah.
so.
And if you've been listening to this podcast so far and you're like, hey, I'm not a fitness pro, I'm not in the fitness world, how does this apply to me? I think if you were listening carefully, that this message applies to everyone. It's like, and no matter what you're in, even if you're working for somebody, or definitely if you're an entrepreneur working for yourself, it's literally knowing that value. And you got to be okay with asking somebody for it and knowing that there's people out there to pay for it. I think that's something I struggled with, and I'll eventually post for those that are listening that when we're recording this, it's actually my 40th birthday. And like, I'm feeling like the best I've ever felt. This isn't about me, but the point I'm getting across is the financial. I used to demonize money, and it was kind of my upbringing. I looked at it as devil as the root of all evil. So then I wasn't like knowing my worth, and then I wasn't growing it. But what I realized is money for somebody like me, like you talked about earlier, for good people, I consider myself that, I think. But I need a way to like go. I went on like mission trips earlier, last year before COVID. I'm able to donate more, give more, and I live in this so-called, you hear the term you use, but abundant life. And I realize abundance isn't money, but having more of it gives you that flexibility. Like, I just went away for the weekend, and that's what he's getting at. Anybody can apply that, whether you're in a Fit Pro. And I think that's what he offers. And not only is that on a personal level, like he did with me, but these group settings. But if you are a Fit Pro listening, like, definitely check this guy out, because he's the real deal. There's so many, man, I hate to say it, there's like scams out there. There's people that just really want your money, and there's people that like don't care about seeing that. But you could just follow him on social media. And there was a post, there was some, I was right before we started recording this, there's several posts of his really, they're just like, he's motivating people just on the Facebook and social media world. But something I like that you were talking about is like, you put out a stat that was eye-opening, and it was that the average Fit Pro makes like about 35 grand a year, which is decent, I think, and it's livable. You don't have kids to support. But then I think it's like the span is what, 2 years, I think you said, something like that.
It's about 2 years before they turn over and go, can I do this when I'm 40? Can I do this when I'm 50? Right. And it's a grind, man.
Yeah. And so and the fact that he's looking at those statistics and he wants to kill that should say a lot about his character. So anyways, talk a little bit about like, what people can expect from somebody like you when they're joining, whether from a personal stance or you're looking at that group setting that you're talking about. What can people kind of expect if they were to join your tribe, as you called it?
Yeah, so it's really about the same principle, man. And this, like, you're still working with fitness clients. Like, I hung up that hat on the rack a few years ago, but it's really focusing on the right behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, like, fitness is not rocket science. Like, we can, like, there's some that want to fancy it up, and yeah, there's some nuances to it, and yeah, there's some science into it, of course. But at the end of the day, if you have the right behaviors, you have the right activities. If you have the right activities and you're consistent with it, well, it's impossible not to win. If you're doing the right thing long enough and hard enough over a long enough period of time, it's just a matter of when, not if. And it's the same thing that we do within our business that we help fit pros with is what are the right behaviors you need to have, right? What are the right daily rituals that you need to have? And we take the guesswork out between, me and Mark. Mark's been in this business for 18 plus years. I'm coming up on 13. We got 30 years experience between the both of us. Now, we don't know everything, but there's quite a bit that we do over that 30 years. So we get to help you learn from the mistakes that we made over our careers and go, hey, here's the shortcut, but here's the behavior behind that shortcut and the mindset that goes into this, so that you can be successful, not only just initially, but long-term with it. And just, I've seen you do the same thing with your fitness clients. There's a reason they come back month after month, year after year, and you've got raving fans because you're not just focused on the quick fix. Let me get 15, 20 pounds off of you. It's like, hey, what's the big picture? Like, why do you want to lose the 20 pounds? What are you doing long term? And then it's funny enough, and you've shared these with me, is you'll get one goal, but then that turns into, well, here's my real goal, Justin.
Yeah, it's that 7 layers deep, as I like to call it. And I think that's what you just said is good. And this should apply to, again, whatever industry you're in. Like, you want people to be by your side, be with you, not just for that initial goal. And like, I can still reach out to him and Mark anytime. I was picking Mark's brain about something the other day, and that's what's cool about a tribe of people. Whether you're giving them $1 or not, they're always going to be there for you. And I think that's great. And so you talk about mindset already like a bazillion times, which is a big part of everything. And like, you hear this word, there's podcasts out there for it, but like specifically for anybody listening, whether it's a fit pro, what do you do to keep that like strong mindset and then to instill that on others?
So before I share the 2 things that have had the biggest impact on me, I have a confession. I suffer from a disease called stinking thinking. So I naturally go to a very
serious.
Dude, I naturally, like, I'm wired that way from a very young child and how I grew up, and worried about if we're going to have our house the next month, and
I feel that
all these things that got embedded in me. So I've had to unlearn that as a man, which is very difficult to do when you go through that.
No, I can relate.
But there's been 2 things that I got introduced to through my mentor that have had the biggest impact. One of them is called the G code. The G code is the 4 different areas of your life that if you really simplify and go, hey, what are the most important things to focus on? These are going to be the 4 areas. So you've got your genetics, which is your fitness. You've got your group, which is the people that you surround yourself in, around your environment. You've got your grind. So obviously what you do, right, for a living. And then you've got your gratitude, right, which is, your self-image, your faith, higher power, whatever you want to call that to be. And when you really take time and you focus on, okay, here are the 4 most important areas. What am I tracking daily to make sure that I'm moving the needle in the direction that I need to move in those areas? Like, what do I need to do in my grind to move to the next step? What do I need to do in my genetics that I work out today, right? That I decide not to drink alcohol, whatever that thing is for you. Right? With your gratitude, are you actually focusing on what you're grateful for? And it's scientifically proven that it is impossible to focus on what you're mad about if you're focused on what you're grateful for.
That's so true.
It's a totally different chemical that gets released. And when you focus on your wins and what you're grateful for, you actually are open and see more opportunities to get bigger and better wins. But it's
crazy
wiring your mind with every day, I'm going to write down my wins. And then the biggest thing, dude, this has been the biggest shift for me, Justin, is the group. If you hang out with a bunch of crab in the bucket people, negative Nancy's, all non-believers, you're going to become the next one of that. Because what happens over time is we pick up the characteristics of who we hang out with. You don't notice it at first, but over the period of a couple months, you'll start to use the words that other people are using that you hang out with. You're going to start mimicking the belief system. And we can't.
The accents even. It's crazy.
Right? Like if I go back to Virginia, I come on back like good old Virginia boy.
And this guy lives in Texas.
I live in Texas now, but that accent will come out if I go back to Virginia.
It's crazy.
Redneck Jonathan comes out.
Yeah, it's funny. And it's not only the people, the environment, like you talked about. Man, you talk about so much. I'll see what I can touch on some of these, but like the environment. I mean, there's this study out there. I don't know if you're familiar with this study, but for those that are listening, there was a study where they did. I'm going to paraphrase a lot because I don't know the specifics. You can just Google old people and walkers. But anyways, they took a group of older people, I think 80s and above, where were like walkers, canes, different like typical like aging, where we get in that mindset, literally mindset of like, this is what we do. We get on a walker, we're decrepit, we're old, we can barely move. Right? So anyways, they took these and they split them in two groups. Of course, the baseline group, that lives their normal life, and then they took this other group and they put them around a bunch of childlike, you know, atmosphere. So from the sights to the sounds to the colors to the touch to the feel. I think they did it for like about a month. And I think you guys know where this is going, but the older people that were exposed to like a childlike atmosphere, from the music to everything else, the foods, all of it, guess what happened? They were all off their walkers, their canes, like everything health wise. Yeah, they didn't change their diet. They didn't make them exercise or anything. They just put them in these environments for a period of time, and just within a little month, they are already reversing the aging process just by their environment. So I just want to touch on that because it's something I read recently, and like it correlates to like mindset, but your mindset is also affected by your environment. So you gotta, again, that 5 people. You also talk about gratitude and gratefulness. So like for those that don't know, I created a journal. And it's free if you want to check it out. Little plug there. But one of the things I put at the very top, Mark helped me out with that. Not the journal, but just getting it out so people can have it for free.
It's an awesome journal.
I'm the creator of the journal. I'm not the creator of the websites and the technology crap. Anyway, first thing on there is 5 things or 3 to 5 things I'm grateful for, and that's how you should start your morning. And it goes into that. It's like, it seems so simple. It seems like, how's that going to change my life? But it's just like, it creates a discipline to get into the right mindset to like what you just talked about earlier. If you missed everything, rewind this podcast, listen to it, because that is gold stuff that he just mentioned on here. That is priceless, that is worth its weight, and definitely listen over that. And that applies to any industry. So
there's a free app for this called dailygcode.com, and the passcode is greatness in all caps. So if you're listening to this, go there, and what you can do is you can track all this stuff. It's got a cool point system, so it's all gamified, so you get that little dopamine rush whenever you so it's super cool to do. It's free to use. Can't tell you enough how much that's changed my life, and how we're using that with our clients and the impact it's having for them. So that's the first thing. The second thing was doing 75 hard. And if you're not familiar with 75 hard, it's a fitness challenge created by Andy Frisella, CEO of First Form Supplements. And what he came up with was this framework of really what the focus on that builds not only the physical discipline and all the benefits that come with exercise and fitness and all of that, it's the mental discipline and the toughness that's developed by going through this program. So it's 75 days, non-negotiable, where you're going to work out twice a day, 45-minute workouts, no cheat meals, no alcohol. You're going to take a progress picture every day. You're going to read 10 pages. You're going to drink a gallon of water. I'm probably forgetting something, but I think
10 pages, gallon of water, workout twice a day.
Yeah.
45 minutes. I think you covered it all.
I have an app that tells me what to do.
Yeah, there's an app too. You guys can download. I think it's like $4.
So the biggest shift for me was outside of like the fitness stuff, which, it's been really cool to get back to what I call old Jonathan, get back to where I used to be. But that mental discipline of waking up and keeping my promises, I cannot tell you how invaluable that is to your personal development, to getting what you're worth. And I'm doing air quotes as I say that, because once again, when you keep the small promises to yourself, and these aren't the promises that you have to tell everyone about, right? You start building that confidence going, hey, I do what I say I'm going to do, right? I'm operating within integrity, right? And I'm not doing this for the attention. I'm not doing it for accolades. I'm doing this for me. You're going to see that translate to the other areas of your life. And the other side effect is you become extremely allergic to excuses.
Yeah.
When you go through this, because when people are like giving you every reason why they can or they don't, which there's a million reasons why, and you're over here doing the hard work, You're focusing on your group. You're focusing on your grind. You focus on your gratitude. You're doing all that stuff I just listed every single day, no excuses. It puts you in another stratosphere. It
Yeah,
puts you on another level.
he couldn't. You said that better. Yeah, I mean, 75 Hard is a great program for that very reason. It creates discipline in your life, and with all these negative distractions out there, it's a way to fill your day. Just like, I think the biggest thing I am morning routine, night routine. Like my day, man. This is perspective. Like now, from age 40 to like 30, where I was at 25. But the point is, like, when you fill your day full of like a schedule and a discipline and the musts of the day, like your 75 Hard, there's so much must in there on top of your workload. And if you've got a wife and kids and all these other things, those matter too. He doesn't talk about those, but if you listen to some of his podcasts, it's important. I mean, there was times so he could do things with his things that matter with work and family. Like he was working out like in the snow in the middle of the night. I think one of his 45, like if you listen to his stuff, and when you feel that, it's like, when life gets crazy and chaotic and scary in these other areas, you have all these things to go back to. Well, I've already set a standard. I'm going to do these 2 workouts a day. I'm going to drink down. You're going to make it happen because you're not just, you're letting yourself down. When you're letting yourself down, you're letting others around down you. For me, it's my 3 kids and things like that. And I think that's what he's getting across if you guys didn't catch up on that. So
But here's the cool thing too is because I was doing it, inspired my wife to do it too. And even though we work together, she plays a big role in what we do at Smart Shark. She also has her own job at what she does, but you would think that we would have all this extra time to spend together, but we're working, we're focused. So it's not like we're hanging out just shooting the stuff. So we have to make sure that we invest that time in that relationship. So one of the workouts was, you got to work outside, do a workout outside for 45 minutes. We would do our walk outside every single day together. And that would almost kind of force us to like, hey, we're going to spend 45 minutes actually talking, not sitting behind the television, not sitting on our phones, texting, tweeting, all that fun stuff, but actually 45 minutes to spend with each other and find out how was your day. What did you learn today? What are you grateful for? And man, it has taken our relationship from what I thought was good to great. And once again, I'm trying to go from great to like excellent. Like that's the next level. But that activity, one of the things that once again, it bled over to my group, which part of my group is obviously my wife and my family. So once again, this will bleed into a lot of different areas if you take the challenge and do it seriously.
And if you heard him, like what he said, it doesn't. This program, if you were listening, like, man, that's a lot. That's going to take. And if you just heard him right there, it doesn't take. It adds. It adds to his life. It adds value. It adds time. It makes you restructure and rethink. I mean, similar story. When I did it a while back, it was like mine was like my kids. Well, I don't want to go. Like my excuses were like, oh my god, it's going to take away time from my kids. It's not going to. So what did I do? I turned it into that's my 45 minutes with my kids, and now it's just a standard. So every day for 45 minutes, me and the kids go do activities. We're hiking, we're walking, we're climbing. So it is a workout because I'm playing with my kids. And for those that are listening that have kids, know how exhausting to me in a good way they can be. But and I'm going on monkey bars, I'm doing things, I'm going sledding, I'm doing things that like I hadn't really done since I was a kid because of that. So it's like think about take a challenge like that. It doesn't have to be 75 hard, but it worked for him. It works for tons of people. It's free to do.
So by the way, I don't work for the G code. I don't work for 75 hard. I'm just sharing what I did for me. At the end of the day, though, if you take anything away, it's the principles and the commitment for doing that. So, like Justin said, whatever level that you're at with that, just take action on it. And I can assure you that you will see it transfer to all the other areas. And it's just one of those counterintuitive things, people do him and go, I want to lose 20 pounds and I want to do it this way. And you're like, well, actually, we're going to strengthen your core first. And they're like, what? It's like, no, it's just track with me. Let me explain this to you. And then afterward, it's like, okay, I get that. So I know it's a little Mr. Miyagi-ish with like paint the fence and wax on, wax off, but it's part of the process. And if you lean into it, there's tons of benefits to go through that. And once again, that's just been my experience and obviously a lot of people I've worked with.
Yeah, I think like what he's saying, set high level discipline standards and get out of the mindset that it's taking something away, that it's actually adding
Yep.
value to your life. And I think that's the way you need to get on all of the mindsets. Like, for example, I'll for food is a struggle for everyone, even us healthy people, food can be a struggle because let's admit it, food is damn good. I'm a foodie. I love food. But it's like, when I'm going through and working through people's diets, it's all about getting in the mindset, like, let's think about how we're adding value and adding foods to your diet that you weren't normally eating, instead of like, oh, I'm taking this and taking that. I'm not taking anything. We're adding. Because when we add this value, we're going to make you healthier. You're going to be able to have more energy, blah, blah, blah. You know where I'm going. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, that's a great point. So the thing I forgot was the diet. There's a diet involved.
You just got to choose one. Yeah. Healthy.
Yeah. Like,
diet.
So it's whatever that diet means to you, which once again, it could be a million different things. Like the first go around, I did vegan, right? Just because.
That's right. You did. I remember you posting about that.
Yeah. My wife's vegan. I was like, okay, I'm going to commit to 100% vegan as I do this. And, so it's your decision. It could be, I'm going to eat a salad every day. Like whatever that micro step you need to make, that we all know what we need to do. Like, come on, like let's keep it real. Like we all know
cookies and broccoli. We know the difference between. It's like, oh, what's healthy between? Oh my God, I don't know.
Right, like
sugar or fiber.
Right.
Like
you already know. Don't even have to
Ooh, that cookie looks healthy though.
Right. It's got protein in it, right? So,
it's a protein cookie. It's all good.
Yeah, so it's just making better choices and holding yourself accountable. That's all it is.
I will say on a side note, Snickers does a really good job with advertising, right? They turned a candy bar into this is a health snack midday to keep your energy going. Like, don't fall for that crap. But yeah, no, like I and you don't know where to start. That's where like people like me come in or Mark come in, because it's like the easiest way is like I don't overcomplicate anything. Move twice. Make it kind of like a workout, it's just drink water, like start early, it's like, don't overcomplicate it. And that's why, like, there's people like him and I, like, especially with business is complex. I was telling myself these stories, I couldn't get into it. And then I was like, oh, where do I go? And then that's why there's people, same thing with health. There's people out there that want to help you. Just keep reaching out and finding them, and then we're people here. So I want to get to this because I don't have much time and it's so random, but it's part of who you are, and I would hate to not talk about it. This guy is a gamer. Can we talk about that? This guy come on. You and your wife, that's like one of your biggest things. If he's not posting about how I can make you more money, health and fitness, 75 hard, it's games. Am I wrong? I'm sorry.
I do. It's a guilty pleasure. I'm a gamer, to say. It's how I like to spend my evenings when I've got downtime, and my wife's a gamer. It's how we met. Like, that's what we bonded on when we're both trainers at the gym. I was like, I think I'm gonna put a ring on it.
I think people need to hear that, because I think people put stereotypes on everybody. We all do. We make judgments, and this guy, like, yeah, he's day grinding hard for people like me, and he's working hard for others, and he's grateful, I'm sure, to get a paycheck. But this guy loves to get down on some games. And for those that are listening, it's like, having that abundant dream life is possible, to be able to play video games with your hot, sexy wife.
Yeah.
And to do 75 hard and just manage it and anything else. Well, I know you got to get off here soon, so I don't want to keep running on. But, like, again, this is a podcast about moving people's lives a step further. I think you have provided a plethora of stuff in the last 30 minutes. Anything you'd like to add before we bounce off there, Jonathan?
Take action. That's it. It ain't about perfect action. It's imperfect action. Perfect never happens, by the way. You just get better. But the goal is to chase perfect. But you got to start by just taking the first step, whatever that is. And that's where you get to look back 3, 6, or 12 months from now and go, damn, I'm so glad I did that. Whatever that is for you, whether it's fitness or your business or better relationship with your wife or, better friends, whatever that is, take action.
Take action. Fear is a liar. I'll add to that, because that's why people don't take action. Fear is a liar. And I'll say I took action, and it was a mistake, which led me to him and to make a better decision. So I look at it, every inaction is essentially action, or every wrong action. Trust me, the right one's right around the corner, and mine was, and it will be for you too. So thank you. I mean, I feel like we should have you on here again. I really enjoyed this. I love it. And if you need to reach out to him, I'll put some things in the notes section below. And if you have any ideas for podcasts or what you'd like to hear, or people you like to hear, things you'd like to talk about, reach out. Let us know. We're real people just like you, and we're just here to provide value in your lives. And again, move your life a step further. Well, again, thanks for tuning in. Take care.